Alright guys, so just a quick heads up, I changed some setting in the TS config. Alright, so these are the changes that I made. First I added ES 2016 2017, and then I added declaration, and then I had a types, and then I added source map, and then the output file. So these are the changes I made. And then what I did next is that I moved the types.d.ts to types file, and then I stated how the js.sha256 works. So I managed to resolve what's the issue of the previous recording. So just give me a second. So this is the error previously, and then we need to add in types/node because they cannot recognize the console. Alright, the console error is resolved. Alright, so now we are shifting all this block data and everything. So this gonna save it into the class.ts, and then what we need to do is that we export it out. Right, so once I export out everything, and then I just need to import it again. Import the block chain data, then block data, and then the transaction data from the file which is from types / class. Okay, so I think this resolved a lot of issues. And then last is making this JS SHA256 available. So I declare I don't need to export default, I just export it. Export equal. Okay, so I export out everything, and then SHA256. You see I resolve all the errors from the previous video. And then what I need to do right now is that in others, so instead of doing this, I'm gonna import the block data and transaction data from type/class. Okay. So what this did is that it imported the classes that I needed. Then last is a transaction. I'm also gonna import the transaction data from the type/class current directory. Right, so everything seems okay right now. So in our main app, we create a Genesis block and everything. So I'm gonna copy this line, and then I'm just gonna make this into a test.ts just to showcase you guys in case you guys need reference. So what I need to do right now is that we create an app.ts again. Alright, so this time before I get started, I'm gonna create a branch first. So what I need to do right now is git add all, then git commit -m resolve types error. Right, so just gonna test run. I compile the tsc file, and then I run it with node this /test.js. So you see it starts mining and everything. So this is a proof of work. So once it reach 7A7, you see 7A7, it made the transactions. Okay, so what I need to do right now, I just want to showcase what is in the block chain. So I can make a changes to the previous app is that instead of setting up hard-coded 7A7, I'm gonna make it into a new way. So I explain a bit. So this is the Genesis block. We have a 7A7 hash, and then the second block, which has a previous hash of this. So you cannot you cannot change the data. So the data are immutable because all the data are being hashed and is using SHA-256, which is a one-way hashing algorithm. Okay, so this part everything is done. So I'm gonna check out a branch. Git check the previous branch. Git check out -b blockchain -3. Okay, so I'm at the third branch right now. What I need to do right now is that I need to create I need to change this mining algorithm. So I starts with this, but right now I can add in something is like difficulty. So what I need to do right now is that I push this class beside me. It's for the ease of changing data. Alright, so in the blockchain data, I'm gonna add in another thing called difficulty, which is a number. So for difficulty, I think you can just this dot difficulty to be 2. Okay, just make it public first. So how do you change the difficulty? Okay, so this is how you change it. So we know that just now we had the this dot difficulty. So just what you're gonna do is that you're gonna generate an array. This dot difficulty +1, because in array okay, I'll just show you guys what happened is that array, for example, is 2 the difficulty +1, then we're just gonna join it with the zeros. So see that when I have 3, it joins become 2, because when you have array 2 + 1, it looks like 3 empty item, but with the join is between the comma of the array. So the gap is if you have 2 item, the gap is 1 for join, which means and then when we have 3, then it's 2. So what you need to do right now is that you're gonna join it with 0. So this is the difficulty and its skills. Okay, so I'm gonna set out a quick code is that test this /test.js. Okay, what I need to try out right now is that I change the difficulty to 4, which is harder to mine. This is a proof of work, so that we don't want the computing we want the computing power to solve this problem with a certain number of zeros in front. So this is how the Bitcoin works. Okay, so TSC just gonna compile and then the node gonna run this file. So this is the difficulty 4, so I expect it will take longer time than previous version. So after this, I'm gonna change it to 2 because we are in the development mode. So in production, we need higher difficulty. So I think it takes a lot of time. a longer time than I thought. So at the meantime, just gonna check all the data. The functions is it here? Then in the block, I think the block we need to change something. The add transaction. Alright, so the mining solved with 40 in front. Okay, we should expect to return nothing. Okay. Alright, so now change the difficulty into something easier to be mined. For development, I think 1 will be fine. We don't need too much time to test on the mining, because when we go to production, I think the difficulty need to be increased significantly. So you see that for 1 is quite fast. As long as it reaches a 1-0, then it generate the first block and stuff like that. Alright, so this part is almost done for setting up this. So we're gonna what I need to do right now is that after this part is done, I need to implement an API. So to implement API, I'm using Express, which is the easiest. I would say it's the easiest API out there. Then so I'm gonna add Express into the node modules, and then next gonna add in the for development, because we need the types from Express. So in the app.ts is the entry point for the Express app. So we're gonna import the Express from then we need to import the body parcel. So we're going to initialize the app with Express, then app.use body parcel. Okay. So to test out this code whether it works, I'm just going to create an app.get the root, then create a function, request and response. Okay, so when we're gonna send the response dot JSON okay, so to test this out, I'm gonna use a browser. Alright, this is the Postman. Then you're gonna create a new tab. Alright, so previously I forget to state about which port I'm using, so just gonna quickly add it at .listen to port 3000, and then gonna function the then just gonna console.log. Okay, so we're just gonna port start to at 3000. Okay, so the TSC will compile it, and then Node will start running the app. Then what we need to do is that we're gonna send a GET request. Oh yeah, yeah, I made a mistake. So it's instead of body parcel, it's body parcel.json. So I need to state specifically I want to use a JSON. Okay. Oops. Okay, so I think now Postman can do what I need to do. So you see, I get a message hello. Now to make it work, I need to copy something from the test.ts file. So I think Genesis block we still need it. Just comment out real quick. This is the external library. So these are our classes. And then this is to set up Express with JSON. Okay, with set Express REST API. Okay, so this one just to start the server at port 3000. Okay, so now we're gonna initialize our blockchain. So this is to create the Genesis block. Genesis. Okay. Then we're gonna initialize it with the blockchain by passing in the Genesis block. Okay, next so the Genesis block is created. What we need to do right now basically is that when someone code the server from the home, I'm just going to return the blockchain dot blocks type. Okay, so let's just try real quick. So when I send in the request, I can get the Genesis block. Yep, you see that there's a Genesis block index 0 with a hash, and then the previous hash is nothing, and the nonce is 6. Nonce basically is a value that we change in order to generate the pattern that we need. Like in this case is 10. Setting up other route. So we're gonna app dot post. We're gonna do something if it's a transaction. So the function so this time we're gonna extract out the post data. First we need to extract out the from to an amount from the passing in from the request dot body. So with this we're gonna initialize the transaction class, and then you see that how you create a transaction. This is how you do it. So I created a transaction. Instead of me you 7, just gonna use the from to and the amount. So I started a classes, and then what I need to do is that I'm gonna push it into the transaction here. So I create a transaction here. So let transactions to be the type of transaction data with an array. Then started with an empty array. Okay, so what you need to do is that we're gonna put this t into it. So transaction equal to transactions, and then we're gonna use a spread operator from JavaScript AS6. What you're gonna do is that you're gonna put in all the arrays in the transactions, then we add in the t. And this is more towards a functional approach. After this is done, we're just gonna return the t. App dot rest dot JSON t. And then this we're gonna add in the transaction. Next, we're gonna do the mining part. So this is a new block they're gonna add in. So app dot get is that you're gonna mine it. request response. Okay, so instead of passing something like the T here, you just need to pass in the transactions, and then we make the transaction to be empty again. So this will be done, and then what we need to do is that we're gonna respond JSON. We're gonna return back the new block. Okay, so now what we need to do is that we're gonna start the server. Okay, so in our Postman, let me just adjust it real quick. You can check out the console. You can see the console right now at the bottom. So in the Postman, what I need to do is that I send in, I just create a new post, localhost 3000 with transaction. Then in the headers, I'm just gonna state the content type. Then the value is JSON application/JSON, and then in the body, I'm gonna use a raw one. I'm saying in JSON data. So start with from me to you, and then the last thing is that we need to add in an amount. For example, it's 3, so I can send in this transaction. Oops, cannot pause to transactions. I think I name it as a transaction instead of transactions. So you see that the transaction is being posted into the server, and then next what I need to do is that I'm gonna mine it. I'm gonna get, so you see that I managed to mine it. Okay, so you see that I managed to mine it. So this is the first block with a hash, and then the second block which has a similar hash with it. And if I mine it again, it won't it will still work, because even there's no transaction, there's still data. So you see that. So this could be something I need to work on. This is an could be a possible bug for the API server. And then the transaction, this is how it works using an API server for that. In the next tutorial, I'm going to share about how do you create a different node with this, but the method I'll be using is long polling. It works with WebSocket, but WebSocket took some time to implement it. The easier approach will be a long polling with REST API. This is the easiest approach, because this tutorial is more towards how blockchain works, not on how to implement WebSocket and REST API. So I'll focus more on the blockchain part. So that's all for my video today. Thanks for watching.